Douglas Reed sat on the porch of his weathered cabin, staring at the purple-tinged sunset of Kepler 44b. The colony world was quiet. Too quiet for a man who'd spent 15 years fighting the Vreeketh swarm across 3 galactic sectors. His hands, scarred and steady, cradled a cup of synthetic coffee as he watched the transport shuttle descend toward his property. He wasn't expecting company. The Interspecies Integration Program had contacted him 3 months ago. A cultural exchange, they'd called it. After the war ended, the galaxy was scrambling to rebuild bridges between species. Douglas had declined twice. He wanted solitude, not diplomacy. But the program administrator, a persistent Centauri bureaucrat, had finally worn him down with one simple argument: you fought for peace. Veteran Reed, now live it. The shuttle landed with a hiss of hydraulics. Douglas set down his coffee and stood, his military posture never quite leaving him despite retirement. The hatch opened, and out stepped a figure that made him pause. She was Carvathy, one of the insectoid species from the outer rim. Her carapace was a mottled brown-gray, asymmetrical patches covering what he assumed was old molting scars. One of her forearms ended in a malformed pincer, clearly a birth defect. Her compound eyes were clouded on the left side, and her antennae drooped at uneven angles. By Carvathy standards, she was likely considered deeply unattractive. Behind her, the shuttle piloter smirking Zentarida didn't even bother to lower his voice. Good luck with that one, human. Her clan must really hate you. The Carvathy woman's antennae flattened against her head. She clutched a single travel case with her 3 functioning arms and didn't look up as the shuttle departed, leaving her standing alone in the settling dust. Douglas descended the porch steps. You must be Christina. Her translator device crackled to life, producing a soft feminine voice. Yes, Veteran Reed. I am Christina of Hive Sector 79. Apologize for the inconvenience. No inconvenience. Douglas took her case lighter than expected and gestured toward the cabin. You hungry? I've got protein synthesizers, but I can also cook actual food if you prefer. Christina's good eye focused on him with what he'd learned during the war was surprise. You cook? Best damn field cook in the 3rd Marine Division, Douglas said with a slight smile. Come on, let's get you settled. Over the next few weeks, Douglas learned Christina's story in fragments. She was the youngest of 17 hatchmates, all of whom had molted into the elegant, symmetrical forms prized by Carvathy society. She alone had emerged malformed. Her family, prominent in the colonial administration, had been embarrassed by her existence. When the integration program requested candidates, they'd volunteered her immediately, a joke at the expense of both the defective daughter and the human veteran. They hoped you would refuse the placement. Christina admitted one evening as they worked together in the garden Douglas was cultivating. Her 3 good arms moved with surprising precision, planting seeds in neat rows. Then I would be rejected by both species. A convenient exile. Douglas paused in his digging. And what did you hope? Her antennae quivered in certainty, he'd learned. I hoped for a place where usefulness mattered more than appearance. Then you came to the right place. Douglas returned to his work. Out here, I don't care what you look like. Can you work? Can you think? Can you keep your word? That's all that matters. Christina's translator was silent for a long moment. Then yes, Veteran Reed. Just Douglas. Yes, Douglas. As weeks became months, the cabin transformed. Christina's 3-armed efficiency complemented Douglas's methodical human approach. The garden flourished. She repaired the cabin's aging environmental systems with an engineer's intuition she'd never been allowed to develop in her hive. Douglas taught her to shoot, to fish in the nearby stream, to cook meals that didn't come from a synthesizer. In return, Christina taught him the meditation techniques of her people, the clicking songs they sang to mark seasons, the intricate mathematics that came naturally to Carvathy minds. She explained how her people navigated by magnetic fields, how they perceived spectrums of light humans couldn't imagine, how their compound eyes saw the world in fragmentary beauty. We don't see one unified image, she explained one night under the alien stars. We see thousands of pieces, all slightly different, all simultaneously true. Humans find it disorienting, but to us, it's completeness. Douglas considered this, watching the stars he'd once fought beneath. Maybe that's why your people thought you were broken. You don't fit their unified image. Yes, her antennae drooped. I am the discordant piece. No. Douglas met her compound gaze. You're just a piece from a different picture. Doesn't make you wrong. The crisis came in the 6th month. A Vreeketh remnant cell, desperate and starving, attacked the colony's southern settlements. The local defense force mobilized, but they were farmers and technicians, not soldiers. Douglas received the emergency broadcast and was gearing up when Christina emerged from her room, wearing improvised armor over her carapace. "You're staying here," Douglas said firmly. "No." Her voice was steady. "You taught me to shoot. You taught me tactics. You gave me purpose, Douglas. Let me fight beside you." He wanted to argue, to protect her, but he saw in her clouded eye the same determination he'd seen in his best Marines. "Stay close. Follow my orders. Understand?" "Yes, veteran." They fought side by side for 18 hours. Christina's asymmetrical form moved through combat with unpredictable grace. Her malformed pincer, weak for delicate work, crushed Rekath exoskeletons with devastating efficiency. Her clouded eyes saw into infrared spectrums, spotting ambushes before Douglas's human vision could. Together, they held the southern ridge until reinforcements arrived. When the sun rose over the battlefield, Douglas found Christina sitting on a boulder, 3 arms wrapped around herself in exhaustion. He sat beside her, their shoulders touching. "You saved my life 4 times today," he said quietly. "You saved mine 6 times, she replied. "I counted." Douglas shrilly laughed for the first time since the war ended. "Then I'm still ahead. We'll have to remedy that." Her antennae lifted, almost playful. Word of their defense spread through the colony and beyond. The Kavathi colonial administration sent a formal delegation including Christina's family to commend their heroism. Her eldest hatchmate, resplendent in perfect symmetry, stood before her with forced politeness. "Christina, your actions have brought honor to our hive. Perhaps you would consider returning home." Christina's translator was silent. Then she clicked out a response in her native language, sharp, decisive syllables that made her family recoil. The translation came after, "I am home." They left without ceremony. That evening, Douglas found Christina on the porch where he'd first sat months ago. She was watching the sunset, her antennae raised toward the purple light. "No regrets?" he asked, settling into his chair. "None." She turned her compound eyes toward him, thousands of facets reflecting his image back at him in imperfect, beautiful multiplicity. "They sent me as a joke, Douglas, but you saw me as I am. Scarred, asymmetrical, useful, real." Douglas reached out, and her good hand took his scarred fingers. "That's all I ever wanted to," he admitted. Someone who understood that broken things can still be whole. They sat together as the alien sun set, to pieces from different pictures, finally finding where they fit.